Captain Taeho Kim sat alone in the pilot's chair of his small trading ship. The steady hum of engines filled the quiet control room. Through the wide front window, stars stretched out like tiny white dots on black cloth. Taeho rubbed his tired eyes. 6 years in space, and the endless black still made him feel small. Ship status normal. Estimated arrival at Outpost 7. 14 hours, said the ship's computer in its flat voice. Taeho nodded and took a sip of his hot tea. The life of a space trader wasn't exciting, but it paid well. After 10 years as a Special Forces soldier back on Earth, boring felt good. He had seen enough excitement in Korea's border conflicts to last a lifetime. A sharp beeping noise cut through the quiet. Taeho set down his cup and looked at the flashing red light on his control panel. "Warning. Distress signal detected," announced the computer. "Show me," Taeho said. Sitting up straight, a map appeared on the screen. A small blinking dot showed where the signal came from. It wasn't far. "Any ships nearby that could help?" Taeho asked. "Negative. No other vessels within response range." Taeho sighed. Going off course would cost time and fuel, but leaving someone stranded in space wasn't something he could do. "Change course to the distress signal," he ordered. Course adjusted. Arrival in 43 minutes. As Taeho's ship approached, he saw the source of the signal. It was a large transport vessel, about 3 times the size of his ship. Its smooth hull had strange curves unlike human ships. One side had a large dark burn mark. Something had hit it hard. "Unknown ship design," said the computer. "Not in database." "Must be one of the newer species in the galaxy," Taeho muttered. Humans had only joined the galactic community 15 years ago. There were still many alien races they hadn't met. Taeho opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Taeho Kim of the trading vessel Star Road. I received your distress call. Do you need assistance?" There was no answer for several moments. Then a voice came through, speaking in broken standard language. "Human vessel. We require help. Engine damage. Life support. Failing. I'm coming alongside. Prepare for docking," Taeho replied. He guided his ship carefully to connect with the damaged vessel. After securing the connection, Taeho grabbed his emergency kit and universal translator. He had met several alien species in his trading work, but first encounters were always tense. When the airlock opened, Taeho faced 6 tall, slender beings. They had pale skin that seemed to change color slightly, shimmering with blues and greens. Their large eyes widened when they saw him. "A human," one of them whispered, stepping back. Another moved forward cautiously. This one wore what looked like a uniform with strange symbols. "I am Jisoo, captain of this transport. We are Neri." The translator did its best with the alien language. "I'm Taeho. What happened to your ship?" Jisoo hesitated before answering. "We were attacked. Our colony. We had to leave quickly." Taeho noticed movement behind the adults. Several smaller figures huddled together. Young ones. Children. They stared at him with a mixture of fear and curiosity. "How badly are you damaged?" Taeho asked, keeping his voice calm. The alien seemed scared of him, and he didn't want to make it worse. "Our main engine is destroyed. Life support has only 2 days left," Jisoo said. "We have 23 adults and 14 young ones aboard." One of the children moved forward slightly, studying Taeho with large eyes. An adult quickly pulled the child back. "Careful, Sue," the adult warned. Taeho smiled slightly at the child. "I can help repair your ship, or if that's not possible, I can transport some of you to the nearest outpost." The Neri looked at each other, seeming unsure. "We have heard stories about humans," Jisoo said carefully. "Your kind is unpredictable." Taeho shrugged. "True enough. But right now, I'm predictably offering help. Will you accept it?" After some quiet talk among themselves, the Neri agreed to let Taeho help. They led him deeper into their ship. The halls were wide and curved, with soft light coming from the walls themselves. It felt very different from the metal and plastic of human ships. "Our engine room is this way," said Jisoo, leading Tahoe down a long passage. A tall Nari with deep blue shimmer in her skin stepped forward. "I am Unji. I study science and know most about our engines. I will help you." Tahoe nodded. "Good. Show me the damage." The engine room was a mess. A large hole had been blown through the outer wall. Emergency shields kept the air inside, but they used a lot of power. Strange machines with curved pipes and glowing parts filled the room. Many were broken or burned. "What hit you?" Tahoe asked, looking at the damage. Yunji's skin turned a pale gray. "The Vox. They attacked our colony without warning." "Vox? I haven't heard of them." "They are hunters," Jisoo explained. "They see other beings as food or toys." Tahoe frowned. "Why did they attack your colony?" The Nari looked at each other with sad eyes. Jisoo spoke softly. "They want our young ones. To them, our children are special prizes." Tahoe felt a cold anger build inside him. He had seen terrible things in war, but hunting children was beyond cruel. "I need to check something in my ship," Tahoe said. "Then we can start repairs." Back on his own ship, Tahoe searched his computer for information about the Vox. There wasn't much. They were a new species to humans, too. The few reports called them aggressive and territorial. Not good. When Tahoe returned to the Nari ship with his tools, he found several of the young ones watching him from around a corner. They quickly hid when they saw him looking. "It's okay," he called gently. "I don't bite." Slowly, one small Nari came out. It was the one called Sue. The child's skin shimmered with curious green patterns. "You are human," Sue said in simple standard language. "I never saw a human before." "Well, now you have," Tahoe said with a small smile. He knelt down to be at the child's level. "I'm going to help fix your ship." More young Nari appeared, watching with big eyes. Sue moved closer. "Why do you help us?" "Adult says humans only help humans." Tahoe thought about this. That's not true. Good people help anyone who needs it. An adult Nari hurried over. "Sue, do not bother the human. He has work to do." "It's fine," Tahoe said. "They're just curious." Over the next few hours, Tahoe and Yunji worked on the engines. The damage was bad, but not impossible to fix. As they worked, more young Nari came to watch. They seemed fascinated by Tahoe. "Your young ones are very friendly," Tahoe said, as he connected two pipes. "They feel no danger from you," Yunji replied. "We Nari can sense feelings. The young ones are better at it than adults." "So they can read my mind?" Tahoe asked, surprised. "No, not thoughts, only feelings. You feel protective. This surprises us." Yunji handed him a tool. "Most species in the galaxy only protect their own kind." Tahoe shrugged. "Not all humans are the same, but most of us don't like seeing kids in danger, no matter what they look like." Later, while taking a break, Tahoe sat with the young Nari. They asked him endless questions about Earth and humans. Sue seemed especially interested. "Tell stories about Earth," Sue asked. Tahoe smiled and began telling a simple version of an old Korean folk tale. The young Nari listened with wide eyes. Even some adults stopped to hear. "You are good with children," said a male Nari named Do-hyun who joined them. "This is not what we expected from humans." "What did you expect?" Tahoe asked. "The stories say humans are dangerous, unpredictable, quick to anger and violence." Tahoe looked at the innocent faces of the young Nari. "We can be," he admitted, "but usually only when protecting something important." As he said this, the ship's alarm suddenly began to sound. The alarm's high sound filled the ship. The young Nari huddled together, their skin turning pale with fear. "What is it?" Tahoe asked, standing quickly. Do-hyun rushed to a control panel on the wall. His long fingers moved across it fast. Ships approaching. 3 of them. Tai-ho felt his old soldier's instincts wake up. Let me check something. He ran back to the connection between the ships and into his own vessel. At his control panel, he scanned the space around them. The computer showed 3 ships moving toward them. They had sharp, pointed shapes, like hunting knives. Computer, identify those ships, Tai-ho ordered. Unknown design. No match in human records. Tai-ho ran back to the Nari ship. Yunji met him at the door. Her skin had turned almost white. Vox ships, she said. Her voice shook with fear. They followed us. Jisoo was gathering the young ones together. We must hide the children, she said. How long until the engines work again? Tai-ho asked Unji. 4 hours at least. Maybe more. Tai-ho shook his head. We don't have 4 hours. Those ships will reach us in 20 minutes. The Nari adults looked at each other with fear in their big eyes. Tai-ho saw the young ones trembling. Little Sue stared at him, as if hoping he could make everything better. A plan started forming in Tai-ho's mind. It was risky, but they had few choices. Listen to me, he said to Jisoo. My ship is smaller, but the engines work fine. We can move most of your people to my ship and leave this one. Leave our ship? Jisoo seemed shocked. Just for now. My ship can hold most of your people. It will be crowded, but we can fit everyone. What about the Vox? Do-hyun asked. I can make my ship look empty. Then I'll leave them away while you hide. Tai-ho looked at the scared faces around him. It's our best chance. The Nari talked quickly among themselves. Finally, Jisoo nodded. We will do it. Thank you, human. They worked fast, moving the Nari to Tai-ho's ship. The young ones went first, then most of the adults. Only Unji, Do-hyun, and Jisoo stayed behind with Tai-ho to finish the plan. The Vox will be here very soon, Yunji said, checking a screen. We need to get the rest of you to my ship, Tai-ho said. Just then, Sue ran back into the Nari ship. My drawing, the child cried. I forgot my drawing. Sue, no. Jisoo called. Come back. But Sue had already disappeared down a hallway. Tai-ho started to follow, but a loud bang shook the whole ship. They're here, Do-hyun said, his voice flat with fear. Tai-ho looked at the airlock on the far side of the room. It was shaking. The Vox were trying to get in. Jisoo, go to my ship now, Tai-ho ordered. Prepare to leave. But Sue, she started. Yunji, Do-hyun, and I will find Sue. Go. Tai-ho pushed Jisoo toward his ship. Lock the doors behind you. As Jisoo left, the airlock burst open. Tai-ho saw the Vox for the first time. They were tall, almost as tall as the Nari, but heavy with muscle. Their skin was hard and covered with small spikes. They had faces like earth lizards, with yellow eyes and rows of sharp teeth. The 3 Vox who entered wore black armor and carried long guns. Hide. Tai-ho whispered to Yunji and Do-hyun. They ducked behind some large containers. The lead Vox stepped forward. It sniffed the air and made a clicking sound. I smell Nari, it said in rough standard language, and something else. Tai-ho stayed still, hidden behind a pillar. He needed to find Sue before the Vox did. The Vox leader made a hand signal. The other 2 spread out, searching the room. Find the young ones, the leader ordered. Our buyers pay triple for the small ones. Tai-ho felt sick hearing this. These monsters were hunting children to sell them. He looked at Yunji. Her eyes were wide with fear. Tai-ho pointed down the hallway where Sue had gone, then at himself. He would find the child. As he prepared to move, a high, frightened cry came from deeper in the ship. Sue had been found. Tai-ho's heart froze at the sound of Sue's cry. The Vox hunters turned their heads toward the noise, their yellow eyes gleaming with excitement. A young one, the Vox leader said, his voice rough like stones grinding together. Get it. Two Vox moved quickly down the hallway. Tai-ho looked at Yunji and Do-hyun hiding behind the containers. He pointed at himself, then at the hallway. They nodded, understanding he would go after Sue. Tai-ho slipped away, moving silently as he had learned in his military days. He took a different path than the Vox, hoping to reach Sue first. The ship's hallways were dim now, running on low power. Tai-ho moved through shadows, listening for any sound. Then he heard Sue's frightened voice. "Please don't hurt me. I just wanted my drawing." Following the sound, Tai-ho found himself at the door to a small room. Inside, Sue was backed against a wall. A Vox hunter stood over the child, reaching out with clawed hands. "Small one will bring good price," the Vox said. "Come here." Without thinking, Tai-ho grabbed a metal pipe from a broken wall panel. He stepped into the doorway. "Leave the child alone," he said firmly. The Vox turned, surprised. It had not expected anyone else. "What is this? A human?" It made a sound like laughter. "This is not your business, human. This prey is ours." "The Nari are not prey," Tai-ho said. "And the child is under my protection." The Vox looked at him with cold yellow eyes. "Protection. You are one. We are many. You have no weapons." Tai-ho tightened his grip on the metal pipe. "I have enough." Before the Vox could respond, Tai-ho swung the pipe hard. It hit the Vox's arm with a loud crack. The Vox howled in pain and anger. "Run, Sue!" Tai-ho shouted. "Find Yunji and Do-hyun." Sue darted past the Vox and out the door. The Vox tried to grab the child, but Tai-ho blocked its way. The angry hunter pulled out a knife made of black metal. "You will die for this, human," it hissed. Tai-ho didn't answer. He focused on staying between the Vox and the door, giving Sue time to escape. The Vox lunged with its knife. Tai-ho dodged and hit back with his pipe. They fought in the small room, knocking over shelves and containers. The Vox was stronger, but Tai-ho was quicker. He had fought in real battles before. The Vox had only hunted those who couldn't fight back. With a lucky strike, Tai-ho hit the Vox's knee. It fell to the floor with a howl. Tai-ho ran from the room, following the path Sue had taken. He found Yunji, Do-hyun, and Sue hiding in a storage area. "We need to get to my ship now," he whispered. But when they tried to return to the docking area, they found their way blocked. The Vox leader and 3 more hunters were searching the main room. A new Vox had joined them. This one wore red armor with strange symbols. It seemed to be their commander. "I smell human," the commander said, sniffing the air. "Come out, human. We would talk." Tai-ho looked at the frightened Nari. They needed a plan. He whispered to them, "Stay hidden. I'll draw them away." "No," Yunji said. "They will kill you." "Maybe," Tai-ho said, "but that will give you time to reach my ship." Before they could stop him, Tai-ho stepped out into the open. The Vox all turned to look at him. "I'm here," Tai-ho said. "Let's talk." The Vox commander walked toward him. A human. "Interesting. I am Krill, hunt leader of the Vox clan Resortooth." It looked Tai-ho up and down. "Why does a human protect Nari prey?" "They're not prey," Tai-ho said. "They're people with rights under galactic law." Krill made that grinding laugh sound again. "Laws? Out here." It waved a clawed hand. "There are no laws in this part of space." "There's my law," Tai-ho said firmly. "And it says you're not touching any of these people, especially the children." "So brave," Krill said, showing its sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. "Or so foolish. Perhaps we can make a deal, human. Help us catch the young Nari, and we will share the profit." Tai-ho's face hardened. There will be no deal. Just then, a Vox hunter dragged Sue out from hiding. The child must have been discovered trying to sneak past them. "Found this one, Commander," the hunter said, holding Sue roughly by the arm. Sue's skin had turned almost white with fear. The child looked at Tai-ho with pleading eyes. Ah, said Krill, reaching for Sue. A fine specimen. This one alone will pay for our trip. Time seemed to slow down for Taiho as he watched Krill reach for Sue. The child's eyes were wide with terror. Something deep and ancient stirred in Taiho's chest, a feeling he had only known a few times in battle. A red heat that started in his heart and spread through his body like fire. Let the child go. Each word came out hard and cold from Taiho's mouth. Krill looked at Taiho and tilted his head. Or what, human? You have no weapons, no power. You are alone. Taiho didn't answer. His eyes stayed fixed on Krill's clawed hand as it moved closer to Sue's face. Such soft skin, Krill said, touching Sue's cheek. The buyers like them unmarked, but perhaps a small taste. Krill's long tongue flicked out, touching Sue's face. The child whimpered in fear. That sound broke something inside Taiho. The soldier he once was, the part of him that knew how to fight and kill, woke up fully. From their hiding place, Yunji felt a wave of emotion so strong it made her gasp. As a Nari, she could sense feelings. What came from Taiho now was unlike anything she had ever felt before. Not hate, not anger, something deeper, something that terrified her. Do-hyun, she whispered. The human is changing. Taiho moved so fast that the Vox barely saw him. One moment he stood still, the next he had grabbed a heavy metal tool from a nearby table and thrown it with perfect aim. It hit the Vox holding Sue in the face. The hunter fell back, letting go of the child. Run, Sue, Taiho shouted. Krill turned to Taiho, surprised by the sudden attack. You dare. He didn't finish. Taiho was already moving. He charged at Krill like a storm. The Vox commander was bigger and stronger, but Taiho didn't seem to care. He hit Krill with a flying kick that knocked the alien back. The other Vox hunters rushed to help their leader. Taiho grabbed a pipe from the floor and swung it in a wide arc, keeping them back. Get to the ship, he yelled to Sue, who stood frozen in shock. Yunji ran out from hiding and grabbed Sue's hand. Come. As they ran toward the docking area, Yunji looked back. What she saw would stay in her memory forever. Taiho fought like nothing she had ever seen. Though outnumbered 4-1, he moved with a speed and force that seemed impossible. When a Vox slashed him with claws, Taiho didn't even seem to notice the blood. He kept fighting, using anything he could find as a weapon. What is he? Do-hyun whispered beside her. I don't know, Yunji said, but I feel his purpose. He fights for us, for the children. Taiho felt no pain, though he knew he was being hurt. His mind was clear and focused in a way it hadn't been for years. Each move came without thought. Duck, strike, turn, kick. The Vox were strong but slow. They fought like bullies used to easy victories. Krill recovered from the first attack and drew a wicked-looking knife. You fight well, human. Your skull will have a special place in my collection. Taiho said nothing. Words were no longer important. Only action mattered now. Two Vox came at him from different sides. Taiho dropped to the floor as they collided with each other. He rolled away and came up with a sharp piece of metal in his hand. It wasn't as good as a real weapon, but it would do. A Vox hunter managed to grab Taiho from behind, its strong arms crushing him. Krill approached with his knife, ready to finish the human. Now you die, Krill said. Not today, Taiho grunted. With a massive effort, he broke free from the hold and headbutted Krill. The Vox commander stumbled back, green blood flowing from his face. Taiho knew he couldn't win this fight, but he didn't need to. He just needed to give the Nari time to escape. He caught a glimpse of the docking area. Yunji, Do-hyun, and Sue had almost reached his ship. Then he saw another Vox hunter heading toward them from a side passage. No, Taiho shouted. With strength born of desperation, he fought his way past the Vox around him and ran after the hunter. He had to reach the Nari before it did. Taeho ran faster than he had ever run before. The Vox Hunter was almost at the docking area where Yeonji, Do-hyun, and Soo were trying to reach his ship. His body hurt from cuts and bruises, but he ignored the pain. The Vox Hunter turned at the sound of Taeho's running steps. It raised its gun, but Taeho was already diving forward. He crashed into the Vox, sending them both to the floor. They rolled together, fighting for control. "Go!" Taeho shouted to the Nari. "Get to the ship now." Yeonji pulled Soo toward the airlock connecting to Taeho's ship. Do-hyun pushed buttons on the control panel, trying to open the door. The Vox was stronger than Taeho, but Taeho fought with desperation. He knew if he failed, the Nari children would suffer. That thought gave him strength beyond his normal limits. With a hard punch to the Vox's throat, Taeho managed to stun it. He grabbed the alien's gun and hit it in the head with the heavy weapon. The Vox went still. Taeho struggled to his feet, breathing hard. He could hear the other Vox coming after him. "The door is open," Do-hyun called. Taeho ran to join them. The four of them hurried through the airlock and into Taeho's ship. Do-hyun shut the door behind them and locked it. Inside, the rest of the Nari were crowded together. They stared at Taeho with wide eyes. He was covered in blood, some his own red blood, some the greenish blood of the Vox. "Captain," Jisoo said, "you're hurt." "No time," Taeho gasped. He pushed his way to the control panel. "We need to leave now." He started pressing buttons, firing up the engines. The ship hummed as it came to life. "They're trying to break through the airlock," Do-hyun warned. "Everyone hold on to something," Taeho ordered. He pulled a lever, and the ship broke free from the Nari vessel with a jolt. Several Nari fell to the floor. Taeho didn't wait. He pushed the engines to full power, and his ship shot away from the damaged Nari transport. On the screens, they could see the 3 Vox ships nearby. "They've seen us," Yeonji said, looking at the radar. "They're following." Taeho checked the star map. They were in a bad position. The nearest safe planet was too far away to reach before the Vox caught them. But there was an asteroid field not far ahead. "I'm going into those asteroids," he said. "Their ships are bigger. It will be harder for them to follow." Jisoo looked worried. "Isn't that dangerous?" "Yes," Taeho admitted, "but less dangerous than the Vox." He guided the ship toward the field of floating rocks. Some were small, but others were as big as mountains. The ship shook as they entered the field. Behind them, the Vox ships followed. Their ships were faster in open space, but here, in the asteroids, Taeho's smaller vessel had the advantage. Taeho's hands moved quickly over the controls, guiding the ship through narrow gaps between rocks. Twice they barely missed hitting large asteroids. One of the Vox ships wasn't so lucky. It hit a spinning asteroid and spun out of control, crashing into another rock in a bright explosion. "One down," Taeho said grimly. The other 2 Vox ships were more careful now, but they still followed. During a moment when they were hidden behind a large asteroid, Taeho felt a sharp pain in his side. He looked down and saw blood soaking his shirt. One of the Vox had cut him deeper than he realized. Yeonji noticed it too. "You need help," she said. She called to another Nari. "Junho, come help the human." An older Nari with silver patterns on his skin came forward. "I know some healing," he said. He examined Taeho's wounds while Taeho kept flying the ship. "You are strong to still be moving with such injuries," Junho said as he pressed a cloth to Taeho's side. "Human bodies must be very different from ours." "We're hard to kill," Taeho said through gritted teeth. "The Vox ships are calling for help," Do-hyun reported, listening to radio signals. "More hunters are coming." Taeho nodded. He had expected this. The Vox wouldn't give up easily. They needed to find a place to hide until the Nari ship was fixed, or until help could come. "How many young ones do you have on board?" Taeho asked Jisoo. 14, she answered. Taiho looked at the frightened faces of the Nari children. They reminded him of refugee children he had seen in his soldier days, innocent victims of battles they didn't start. "I won't let them take you," he promised. "Not while I'm still breathing." For 2 hours, Taiho guided the ship through the asteroid field. Junho had bandaged his wounds, but he was still weak from blood loss. His hands shook slightly on the controls. "You need rest," Yunji said, standing beside him. Taiho shook his head. "Not yet. We need a safe place first." The ship's computer beeped with a new scan result. "There," Taiho said, pointing to the screen. "A small moon. The scanners show old mining tunnels inside it." "Is it safe?" Jisoo asked. "Safer than floating in space with Vox hunting us," Taiho replied. He turned the ship toward the small, gray moon ahead. As they got closer, they could see the moon's surface was covered with craters and old metal structures. It had been abandoned for many years. "This was a mining outpost," Taiho explained. "According to my data, the company left 50 years ago when the valuable minerals ran out." He found a large opening that led to an underground landing bay. Carefully, he guided the ship inside, landing in the dusty, dark space. The ship's lights showed old equipment and empty transport vehicles. "We can hide here while we think of a new plan," Taiho said. The Nari helped Taiho from his seat. Now that they were safe for the moment, his body finally gave in to pain and exhaustion. Junho and Do-hyun carried him to a sleeping area and laid him down. "Our young ones want to thank you," Jisoo said softly. One by one, the Nari children came to see Taiho. Little Sue was first, holding a small paper with a drawing on it. "I made this," Sue said, showing Taiho the picture. It showed a simple figure that was clearly meant to be Taiho, standing with arms out, protecting smaller figures that were the Nari children. "It's very good," Taiho said with a tired smile. The other children had made similar drawings. In all of them, Taiho stood tall, keeping danger away from them. "They see you as a protector," Yunji explained. "In our history, we have stories of guardian spirits who watch over the weak. Now, you will be in new stories." While Taiho rested, the adult Nari explored the old mining base. They found power systems that still worked and turned on some lights. They also found water tanks that were still full. After a few hours, Taiho felt strong enough to move again. He gathered the adult Nari to make a plan. "The Vox will find us eventually," he said. "We need to be ready." "But we are not fighters," Junho said. "Our species has always been prey, never predators. We do not know how to fight." Taiho understood. The Nari had evolved as peaceful beings. It wasn't their fault. "Then I will teach you," he said, "not to kill, but to defend yourselves and the children." Over the next hours, Taiho showed the Nari adults how to set traps using old mining equipment. He taught them to use metal bars as weapons and how to work together to protect each other. "If we can't fight them directly, we'll use the tunnels to our advantage," he explained. "We make them come to us, one by one." Yunji watched Taiho closely as he worked. "You know much about fighting," she said. "I was a soldier before I became a trader," Taiho replied. "I hoped I would never need those skills again. But now I'm glad I have them." "The children have been making more pictures of you," Yunji told him. She showed him drawings that the young Nari had made on scraps of paper and metal. The pictures showed Taiho fighting the Vox, protecting the Nari. In each one, he seemed larger than life, strong and fearless. "They don't understand that I'm afraid too," Taiho said quietly. "Fear does not matter," Yunji replied. "Actions matter, and your actions are brave." As they prepared defenses, Taiho found an old communications array. It still worked, but had limited range. "I'm going to send a signal," he told Jisoo. "Maybe a galactic patrol ship will hear it." "The Vox will hear it too," she warned. "Yes," Taiho agreed, "but we can't stay hidden forever. We need help." He recorded a simple message explaining their situation and set it to broadcast on all frequencies. Then he joined the others in preparing for the coming fight. That night, as the Nari slept in shifts, Tai-Ho checked the ship's scanners one last time. His heart sank at what he saw. 5 Vox ships were approaching the moon. "They found us," he whispered. "Everyone to your positions," Tai-Ho called. The Nari moved quickly, adults guiding children to the safest part of the mining base, a strong room deep inside the tunnels. "Remember the plan," Tai-Ho told the Nari adults who would help fight. "Use the traps we set. Don't try to fight them directly. Hit and run." Do-hyun nodded nervously, holding a metal bar. "We will try to be brave, like you." "Brave doesn't mean not being scared," Tai-Ho said, checking his makeshift weapons. "It means doing what needs to be done, even when you are scared." The scanners showed the Vox ships landing outside the mine entrance. Tai-Ho counted at least 20 Vox warriors leaving the ships. "They're coming," he warned. Yeonji stood next to Tai-Ho at the main tunnel entrance. "I will stay with you," she said. Tai-Ho wanted to tell her to go with the children, but he saw the determination in her eyes. "Stay behind me," was all he said. The first trap was triggered as soon as the Vox entered the tunnels. A loud crash echoed through the mine as heavy metal containers fell from the ceiling, blocking the main entrance and crushing 2 Vox warriors. "Now they have to use the smaller tunnels," Tai-Ho said. "Just like we planned." The Vox split into smaller groups, searching through different passages. Tai-Ho and the Nari waited in the shadows. When 3 Vox passed by a side tunnel, Do-hyun pulled a lever that released a mining cart. It rolled down tracks and hit the Vox hard, knocking them down. Before they could get up, Tai-Ho attacked from his hiding place, using a heavy pipe to knock them unconscious. "It worked," Do-hyun whispered, amazed. But the other Vox heard the noise and were now more careful. They moved slower, checking for traps. Krill, the Vox commander, spoke into a communicator. "Find the human first. He is the dangerous one. The Nari will be easy once he is dead." The Vox were learning, adapting to the traps. Soon, they were getting closer to the center of the mine where the children were hidden. "They're breaking through too fast," Yeonji warned. Tai-Ho knew she was right. The traps had slowed the Vox, but not stopped them. It was time for a more direct approach. "Get back to the children," he told Eunji. "I'm going to lead them away." "How?" she asked. Tai-Ho picked up a flare from an emergency kit. "By giving them what they want. Me." Before Eunji could stop him, Tai-Ho ran down a tunnel, lit the flare, and shouted, "Here, you lizard-faced cowards. Come and get me." The bright light and his voice immediately attracted the Vox. Most of them turned and followed him, exactly as he had planned. Tai-Ho led them on a chase through the tunnels, setting off smaller traps as he went. But Krill was smarter. The commander guessed what Tai-Ho was doing and took 4 warriors in the opposite direction, toward where the children were hidden. Tai-Ho realized too late what was happening. He fought desperately to get back, taking risks and facing Vox warriors directly. His body was already hurt, but he ignored the pain. Nothing mattered except reaching the children before Krill did. By the time Tai-Ho made it back to the central area, he heard screams. Krill and his warriors had found the passage to the safe room. Inside the room, the Neri adults formed a circle around the children. But they were no match for the armed Vox. Jisoo was already hurt, bleeding on the floor. Sue and the other children huddled together, trembling in fear. At last, Krill said, reaching for Sue, "The prizes we came for." Tai-Ho stood in the doorway, breathing hard. Blood ran from cuts on his face and arms. His clothes were torn, but his eyes burned with a fire that made even the Vox hesitate. "Get away from them," Tai-Ho said. His voice was quiet but filled with a deadly promise. Krill turned to face him. "Ah, the human protector. You are too late. We have what we came for." "No," Tai-Ho said. "You don't." Something changed in Tai-Ho at that moment. The Neri felt it through their empathic sense. a wave of pure protective fury unlike anything they had ever experienced. It wasn't hate or anger, but something deeper and more powerful, a human's absolute refusal to let innocent children come to harm. Yunji watched in awe as Taeho moved. Later, she would tell others that he didn't fight like a person, but like a force of nature, like a storm. Taeho attacked all 5 Vox at once, moving faster than seemed possible. When a Vox blade cut him, he didn't slow down. When they hit him, he hit back harder. The Neri children watched with wide eyes as Taeho fought for them. In that moment, he became the guardian from their drawings come to life. Krill was the last Vox standing. The other 4 lay on the floor, some groaning, some still. Taeho faced the commander, bloodied but unbeaten. His body was covered in cuts and bruises. He could barely stand. But he would not stop. "What are you?" Krill asked, real fear in his voice for the first time. "Just a human," Taeho answered, "who will not let you hurt these children." Krill held his knife out, backing away. No prey fights like this. No being continues after such wounds. "Humans do," Taeho said, "especially when protecting the innocent." They circled each other slowly. Taeho knew he had little strength left. This would be his last fight, if help didn't come soon. Just as Krill rushed forward to attack, the walls shook with a loud boom. Dust fell from the ceiling. What was that? Krill stopped, looking up. More booms followed, the sound of ships landing. "Scanners show 5 large vessels outside," Jisoo said, checking the small device. "Not Vox design." A voice came over the mining base's old speakers. "Attention. This is Captain Han of the Galactic Peacekeeping Fleet. We received a distress call. All beings in this facility are ordered to stand down." Relief washed over Taeho's face. Help had arrived. Krill saw his chance. While Taeho was distracted by the announcement, the Vox commander lunged with his knife. But Taeho's battle instincts were still sharp. He dodged the blade and struck back with his last bit of strength. His fist hit Krill's head with a solid crack, and the Vox commander fell to the ground, unconscious. "It's over," Taeho said quietly. Then his legs gave out, and he collapsed. When he woke up, he was in a clean white room. Medical equipment beeped around him. His wounds had been treated, and much of the pain was gone. "The human is awake," a voice said. Taeho turned his head to see a galactic officer standing by his bed. Next to the officer was Yunji, her skin glowing with patterns of relief and happiness. "You're safe," she said. "All of us are safe because of you." The officer introduced himself as Captain Han. "Your distress signal reached one of our patrols. They relayed it to us. When we arrived, we found a rather unusual situation." "The Vox?" Taeho asked. "In custody. Their actions violated multiple galactic laws," Captain Han said. "But I must say, they seemed quite impressed by you. Frightened, even. That's not common for Vox." Over the next few days, as Taeho recovered, he learned what had happened. The Galactic Council had called a special meeting about the incident. Recordings from the mining base's old security system had captured Taeho's defense of the Nari. "The Council has seen it all," Jisoo told him when she visited. "Many species are reconsidering their view of humans." "Is that good or bad?" Taeho asked. "Both, perhaps," she said with a small smile. "They see you are dangerous, yes, but they also see that your danger is directed at protecting others, not harming them." 2 weeks later, Taeho stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Representatives from 37 species sat in high seats around the room. Taeho felt small in such company, but he stood tall. The head counselor, a being with 4 arms and silver skin, spoke. "Captain Taeho Kim, your actions have caused much discussion in this council. Some fear what humans might do in our galaxy. Others see great potential in your kind." Taeho waited quietly. "The Nari have asked to form a formal alliance with Earth," the counselor continued. "The first such request in their species' history. They call it a guardian bond. After the ceremony, Tai-ho found Sue waiting for him. The young Neri looked different now, less afraid, more confident. I want to learn about humans, Sue said. I want to be the first Neri to visit Earth as a student. I think that can be arranged, Tai-ho said with a smile. Will you tell me more stories? Sue asked, holding up a drawing. It showed Tai-ho standing with the Neri, both species side by side. Yes, Tai-ho promised, and we'll make new ones together. 6 months later, Tai-ho's ship landed at the new Nari colony. A crowd waited to greet him. Children ran forward, their skin shimmering with excitement. Adults bowed with respect. Welcome, Guardian Tai-ho, they called. As he walked among them, Tai-ho realized something important. His years as a soldier had taught him how to fight. But these gentle beings had taught him why fighting sometimes matters, not for land or power or pride, but for protecting those who cannot protect themselves. And as human ships began visiting more parts of the galaxy, other species watched closely. They had learned an important lesson about humans. Threaten the innocent, especially the young, and you will face a fury unlike any other in the galaxy.